All righty, what's going on, good people? I believe I am now unmuted at this time and you guys can hear me okay. What's going on with each and every one of you on tonight, Wednesday, Watch Me Work Wednesday? Excited to be here again. And tonight we're actually doing this. We're broadcasting on the open platform here tonight. So we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on Periscope, and eventually we will figure out how and why in the world we are not yet on LinkedIn. So tonight we're going to be talking about, guess what, logo design. So if you're wondering where I'm getting these topics from, let me go about it this fashion, show you guys a little bit of back history so we'll know exactly what I'm doing and where I am coming from for your listening and watching pleasure. So if you have not had the opportunity to see who and where and what I am, I have a private elite group training. It is Learn, Lead, and Level Up, where we actually delve deep into branding, graphics, logo design, business card design, banner design, and all of that, and so much more. But specifically, I'm scrolling here so you can see where we previously ran a poll really quickly. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about Zoom. Last week, we talked about Canva. Tonight, we're talking about print media support. And we're actually starting with logo design. So that is our topic for tonight. We're going to jump right into that. But before we jump right into that, let me do you guys a favor and not do myself a disservice and at least go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Martina Britt Yelverton. I am the founder of this Brand Master Elite Group training that you guys are actually being given privy to see tonight. Normally, this particular training is inside of our elite group coaching only, so that the people who have actually, committed themselves to coming in and learning this information can learn it. And on Wednesday nights, we generally do a segment I call Watch Me Work Wednesday, so that the actual participants inside of the group can see the actual mechanics of a lot of what we use outside of the group, so they can see what the nuts and bolts look like. Okay. I am an Always Be Marketing brand ambassador. I'm also a brand master. My daily goal is to brand you, educate you, and to help you leave a legacy. So if you find that you are in need of the help that I'm speaking of, that I am available to offer, then definitely have a look around and grab yourself some of these additional needs at bit.ly/brandmaster blueprints, or you can just go to brandsecretsrevealed.com and it will bring you specifically to an area that I am getting up on the screen. Okay, here we go. And like I say, tonight we're talking about logo design. We're going to talk about the information sharing that happens with regards to logo design. We're going to discuss some of the, and I guess I can call it hidden information, because a lot of people are told about this information. They are not told about the back history of it, the pre-search that has to happen, the vision casting, the brainstorming, the design, the review, and the revisions. They especially are not taught about the finalization and the formatting and the deliverables that are received. So if you've actually inquired with a graphic artist and you've requested to have a logo design and they quote you a price right off the bat, trust and believe they are quoting you a general generic price, and they probably are only going to give you a certain segment of what they choose to include inside of that. So generally what you see and what I have here on the screen is where my logo design prices start. And the reason I do this is because I need to know more about what you are actually requesting for a logo design, as well as what the market is expecting to see with regard to your given genre for the logo design. So again, like I say, what we're going to run through tonight in this Watch Me Work is showing you some of the bare bones of some of the logos that I have here on the screen. You get to see them in a mock-up format, and you get to understand some of the background basics of it. People don't realize that a logo must be simple, right? It must be memorable, it must be effective, versatile, and appropriate. If you don't have these things in place, your logo can literally become too much. It can become overwhelming. It can become useless depending on where you're actually trying to use it at. So as you see here, you'll see there is t-shirt design. There is also mug design that's listed here, a different format of t-shirt design. Let's speak specifically about this one before I go any further. Imagine this on a purple shirt, right? The overarching color here that you see obviously in the black would get lost in the purple fabric color. The same of the logo design here would get lost in the purple color. So that's what we mean by versatile. You would need to be able to drop away the color on this and still be able to see depending on what fabric that it is printing on, right? You want to make sure that it's memorable and all of that. Here we have another logo design for Houston Financial Wall Street Movement. We have a Love Me Godly t-shirt design, and this particular t-shirt design became very, very versatile because there are 7 areas of chakra, and I'm hoping I'm saying the correct number in 7, but there are 7 to 8. I'll say that because I think I may be missing 1 or 2. 7 to 8 areas of this chakra, and the way they represent those different areas are based on the color that you see here. So, and I actually could probably go over to that one and show you, but the point is we did this, and there's several words that the client actually requested to go along with this design. And so we did one in green, we did one in yellow. Now each one of these colors have a different meaning. We did one in purple, we did one in blue, one in green, one in yellow, one in red, one in orange, and that's 6. So obviously I'm missing 1. But the bottom line is this logo is extremely versatile because of the fact that they needed it to represent different areas of their particular niche. Okay, we also have one here from My New Walk in Life. So you're actually seeing a t-shirt design, but up in the upper left chest plate is the actual logo design. And this one we were able to actually make work on a yellow t-shirt because yellow is actually a part of the logo design itself. So you want to make sure that the colors that the logo itself are going to bounce off of are actually effective. So that is what I'm meaning by simple, memorable, effective, versatile, and appropriate, right? You have this one, and see, if you're looking at this particular design and you place this on a red shirt, you're going to lose an element of it. If you place it on a yellow shirt, you're going to lose an element of it. If you place it on a white shirt, hopefully as a person who requested this particular logo, they would send it to you in an additional file format so that you can see the inverse of the white in black so that it would show well on a white t-shirt. So this is what I mean by there are so many more levels to logo designs that a lot of people don't realize, and that's why they are on the higher end of the nature of expense that most people don't realize. So here's one that we have here in black is the background, but we also have, if you noticed here in the beginning, we have it both in black and in white. So that's what I'm referring to when I'm saying when you're receiving your logo, you also want to receive it in the inverse colors so that it is versatile for you, the customer who is receiving it. Here's one for the logo for the Cash Flow Club. And let's see if I have a couple more down here, and I do. We have one for Daryl Reese. I am Daryl Reese. He is a husband, father, entrepreneur, and mentor. So I'm going through all of these so that you can see there is a varied expense in the creation of logo designs, and it is based on the actual use of the logo. Okay, so let me do a little bit more and jumping further into a little of the text information that I want to talk about for the logo. So a lot of times when a logo is coming about, one of the things that need to go on in step 1, and there are actually anywhere from 7 to 9 steps with logo creation, you want to make sure that there's information sharing that happens when you first begin the logo. So what I'm doing is actually walking you through the process of what happens when the logo is designed and you're asking for, hey, can I get a logo, and the price that is quoted is $349 per se, and you're going, what in the world, that's more expensive. I could get a logo on Fiverr for $7. You're very correct. You could get a logo on Fiverr for $7, and that would be absolutely great and amazing. My question at that point would be, are you getting the native files? Are you getting the inverse colors? Are you getting all of the file formats? Are you getting everything that you need? Are you getting a logo release notification? Will the logo be trademarked or service marked? Can you resell the items that you place the logo on? There are a lot of additional informational sharing questions that need to happen, and that doesn't always happen. In this information stage, there are some important questions that need to happen. You need to know exactly who the competitors are for the niche that the person is requesting a logo from. And you generally don't get asked that in Fiverr. So you may not know if you're requesting a logo and you say, hey, I want a logo that says, let's see, I sell soap products, and they send you back an image of, what is it, a dove, and you happen to pull that logo up and it looks very, very, very similar to the Dove product logo, that is a large scale manufactured trademarked logo, but you don't know that, right? And you go ahead and get that logo mocked up on all of your material, you pay for all of that printing, and you're ready to start selling it, and you get slapped with a cease and desist order from Procter and Gamble or J&J or whoever the owners of the Dove brand are, right? And that's because there was not information sharing, nor was there pre-search that happened before the logo was created. Okay, and so that's a lot of what needs to happen. You need to be looking at competitors. You need to be making sure that you yourself, as the designer, so to speak, is actually Googling keywords to bring up other associated logos to make sure that you aren't infringing. There's a lot of information sharing that needs to happen. One of the main questions that I ask my client is, what typically appeals to you? Because if doves and crosses don't appeal to you, even though you are a church and you're looking to have a church logo design created, then I need to make sure that the design that I create for you does not have something in it that does not appeal to you. Okay? And then also, if you're looking for something that appeals for a church, but you don't want the typical dove or cross theme, you may want something that's more reminiscent of the thorn cross or the Bible being open or something like that. That's part of the information sharing that needs to happen in logo design, right? In addition to that, there's some pre-search that needs to happen, not only about the niche, but about the company and the product that is mainly being representation of. You want to make sure that you do some pre-search, because this logo is going to have a conversation. This logo is going to be in place before that client may show up, because there's material that goes out, there's print media material that goes out, whether it's digital print media or whether it's actual physical print media. There's a conversation that happens with regards to that logo that goes out before even the client. Okay, and so you want to make sure that you've had an opportunity to view competitors, and that you're actually giving yourself an opportunity to see and understand the conversation that may happen as a result of what you design as the representation in the logo. In step 3, we talk about getting the brain activated. A lot of designers that I know, they prefer to sketch out or brainstorm and literally sketch out before they actually design. And my thought process behind that is, I don't generally like to start on paper. I like to generally start vision casting in my mind. I go ahead and see based on what I've received in the information sharing, and that's in step 1. And in the actual pre-search that happens in step 2, I want to hear the uses of it. I want to hear what their mindset is behind it. I want to hear where they plan on placing it at. I want to hear so many different things before I even begin sketching, so I can already see the end before I even get started. I hope that makes sense. So, and one of the main reasons that I like to do that is also, I like to understand maybe what the conversation is going to be like. Like I said, there's a conversation around it that happens. I kind of want to understand what that conversation is going to be like as well. In addition to that, then you can actually get your brain more involved in the creative process before you even put a pen to paper. You can already allow yourself, and because my designs are spirit-led, I like to allow myself to be open to what is going to be downloaded into me for the project. So that's the reason, before I even pick up a pen or a piece of paper and begin to design something, I want to really be open to receive something on behalf of the client's logo. I hope that makes sense. If that makes sense, definitely say I get it, that makes sense. That's understandable, because you also don't want to be wasting time drawing out something that's really coming from you that isn't going to resonate with other people who are actually going to be engaging with the logo, especially if I'm designing a logo for someone that's across country. I design logos for people in any and every city, state, country, whatever I need to do. I may not even ever engage with that logo again afterwards. However, the person who is actually viewing the logo on the other end, in that state, in that city, in that online presence, I want to be able to kind of see ahead of time what the conversation is before that logo even comes out. All right. So that's step 3, vision casting and brainstorming. Now, mind you, all of this is going on before the client even has an opportunity to receive or see or draft of anything for their logo. We're already 3 steps ahead that you can't physically lay your hands on to account for the price that you were quoted. So when a person quotes you a price and say right off the top, hey, I need a logo, and you say, hey, cool, the logo's $349, you've now accounted for a very large gap of time in getting that logo created. Why? Because again, you don't want to put the recipient of the logo in any type of legal situation because you did not do your pre-search or you did not have a conversation with them. There's no way you should be able to receive a quote for a logo just off the cuff and know that's going to be the price. That's it. That's why I say it starts between $279 and $349. Okay. Also, when you move into this next step, step 4, with regards to actually taking, what has been downloaded possibility, and you begin to utilize a professional software, not your Fivers, not your Microsoft Word. And believe it or not, that is actually where I started. In 2001, when I began creating logos, I was actually using pieces of clip art and putting them together because I didn't like the standard janky, clip art feel of different things. I started those logos literally inside of Microsoft Word. This and of course, a Word or text-based program is not made for graphics. So a lot of the things that I was designing back in 2001 and I was using Microsoft Word, that was really messing people up good, that I was able to come up with those type of creations in a non-professional software type of platform. Okay, then enters Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe InDesign, and finally Adobe Acrobat to kind of put it all together in PDF format. All of those different areas is a professional software suite that allowed me to create the bare bones of more professional logos. There are layers involved, there are colors, there are gradients. And if you don't know what a gradient is when you move from one specific hue of a color, that's shade of a color, down to another specific hue of a color. And actually, if you can tell, there are several different color shades that are in between this dark green to this light green. Okay, that's a gradient. So you can't always do that now. Today, Microsoft Word can do a whole lot more than it could do, 9 years ago? Okay, it's come a long way, but it's still not a logo design software type of tool. There are lots of base foundational logos that work very well that you are available to build upon. So yes, you could go to Fiverr and get your base logo and get the actual bare bones of that logo and then bring it to a professional and say, hey, here are my Illustrator files that I had done on Fiverr. I need to take this to the next level. And now that person is able to duplicate aspects of it, layer aspects of it, create script from it, add hues to it, make gradients, make layers, cut off certain areas of it. Like obviously we know this is an N, but it is actually an I going into an N. I inspire, and this array of colors is actually giving the logo movement. So you have the soft curves of the circles. You have the arms representing this is an overarching like family, all-inclusive, inspirational type thing. You also have, the understanding that you have straight lines, which makes it very clean, but then you also have the script that gives it a little bit of femininity, a little bit of it softens the end. All these things are terminology or things that the eye sees that the brain cannot comprehend as just the novice person seeing a logo. A novice person seeing a logo would think, hey, that's pretty nice. That's very creative, and that's about it. You probably didn't see some of the things that I just said when I was referring to the different elements. You probably can't tell that this particular arm of the yellow hue is behind the N, but this particular arm of the green hue is in front of the N, right? That's not always everything that is noticeable right away. Okay, so again, also you want to make sure that if there are any credentials that make this logo even stronger, definitely having the PPD LLC gives this a little bit more of a clinical feel as well. Even though You Inspire the Movement is their slogan, and I Inspire PPD LLC is not only coaching, but it's also counseling. So it's a lot here, but it's still very simplistic. It's still very clean, right? It's still very memorable. You guys will probably remember this logo, right? It's still versatile because there are color enhancements that can be made to it. It can be done in black and white. It can stand alone in an all black feel and still be very, very effective and appropriate, right? So if you were to go to youinspirethemovement.com, right? You're able to see this particular logo looks nice over on black, right? Even if you were to take it and flip it to white, which I have a little bit further down, you will be able to see it. We carried the color palette on throughout the website. You have the big bold white letters on top of the background of the black and white, so you know that it has some effect of movement to it. Tim and Tanya Arrington, they are out of North Carolina. And not only are they certified personal trainers and certified life coaches, they are actually multi-business owners as well, right? So there are a lot of different features that you get, and hopefully you guys can see the appropriateness of the logo, its color palette, and everything, even here further down and throughout their website. You see how we're able to bring in all of the colors that we used in their logo, and we're able to share them throughout their entire brand, right? And you can still see the logo is again appropriate here in a solid white color, right? As it was in the full branded full color logo that is at the top, okay? So let's head back up to the top. I thought I also had it within the body of the website as well. I probably have it on some other media. Let's see. It's been a while since I perused their site, but I know that I have it in the varying colors as well. So my point for doing that is showing you where we went from, where we took the use of color and we also pulled it over into the actual website. Okay, so when this logo was first created and it was sent out to Tim and Tanya, it was sent out in bare bones. So the first contact that they had with this logo, the whole logo was black. And I just simply said, hey, we're going to have some color going around the top here, maybe a little color under here underneath. But right now, do you like the bare, do you like the bare bones of the logo, right? And the reason that you ask that is because if they like it in a black and white and they understand the foundational attributes of the logo, then when you add the color, they're going to like it even more, right? The absence of color really keeps the client and the designer clear on the foundation of the logo, right? And then you want to also make sure that the logo can work well in both black and white, grayscale, and full color. So you also you want to limit the amount of logo designs that you actually look at. Why? Because a confused mind chooses nothing. So if you show someone 4, 5, 6, 7 logos, you have seriously confused their mind. You've also made work harder for yourself as the designer. They're going to say, hey, I want the arm from logo number 1. I want the head from logo number 2. I want the font from logo number 3. Let me get the script from logo number 4. And let me get, the background on logo number 5. And you're going to have a mess. A confused mind chooses nothing. So in that review and revision process, which is step 5, when I send out a logo to the client, what I'm saying to them is, here are 1 to 2 designs. From these 1 to 2 designs, what do you like the most? What do you like the least? Do you like one over the other? Right? And then once we get that understanding of what they like the most, what they like the least, which one they like over the other, then we're able to make a revision into a third. I generally do not go past the 3rd logo. By the time I move into the 4th and 5th logo, again, a confused mind chooses nothing. And that's the last thing that you want to do, is make this process extremely hard on a client. So I have, and I actually believe I just deleted them on today, but let's see if I can get them up. If not, I may have to go into her folder. So Miss Phyllis Starton and I, we started on her logo design process. And a variation of the first logo that she received was this one. However, what we noted was when I actually pulled up the file where I had reduced her logo down very small. Let's see if I can find that one. Where I had reduced her logo down rather small in size. Once I reduced it down in smaller size, and I'm going to hers first because I think it's most, yeah, here we go. So here's Miss Darden's logo. And once we reduced it down into a smaller size, this is about the size of a quarter, some of the text here got lost. So we went back to the drawing board, and what we decided to do was create the font a little bit wider, gave it a little bit more stroke, which made it bolder, took away some of those color attributes to make it cleaner. So if you guys, and I have a third one for you to look at, because remember, we took what the original was, we created an alternative to it. Now between these two, which one would you say you like better? Let's go with the lines as number 1, and let's go with the circles as number 2. And then I'm going to show you the third one. So this was number 1. And yes, her name was bolder, but again, when we reduced it in size, we lost a little bit of the font. Okay, and it became a little bit illegible, unreadable, and we don't want that because we know the logo is not going to be huge in every use. Some uses may go on pens and pencils. Some uses may go on labels, right? We want to make sure that when it goes as large as a billboard, it's still as clear as if it's on the side of a branded pen, okay? And so we want to make sure that the logo, again, is clean, versatile, it's memorable, it's legible. We want to make sure that it's all of those things, that it's effective, and of course that it is appropriate. We also want to keep it simple, okay? Because again, when it's time for you to go and get this printed on certain materials, you may run into a problem when it's time to actually pay for that screen print fee if you decided to put 17 colors in your logo. You're going to be super mad when it comes time to print it because they're going to charge you for all 17 colors versus this is going to be a blip or a dot of an orange, a green, a yellow, and a blue. And each one of these has some hue of white in them to make them lighter or less rich. And obviously you're going to need a little pink and a purple because it's such little use of the additional ink colors, you may be able to get away with that. So this was the original one. However, if you notice, the font gets a little bit heavier. So when it reduces in size, it's still legible. And then by the time we added her final enhancements to it, which actually has her logo slogan or understanding of what the SHE's is, spirit, health, economic, and social, this is the finalized logo. So we started out again with, and I got rid of some of the other ones. This we had in simple black and white. Let's see if I can get that pulled up for you guys to be able to see it quickly. Let's go to Miss Darden and give you guys the draft. Okay, so again, when we first pulled this up, let me see if I can get it in the right way so you guys will be able to see it over on the side. That's the better way I like to look at it. Okay, in a solid black was one of the initial looks of it, even though we did have it here. So if you laid it across a darker color t-shirt, like maybe a different color blue, you'd still be able to see the symbolism in the middle. But here was the black format. Talisha, can you see that okay? I know it's on black, but does it still show up on the screen okay for you, sis? So the reason that we did it this way, again, we want you to see the bare bones before you decide hey, I like it or I dislike it. She could have said, hey, I don't, because she did actually. She said, can we make the P a little bit more emphasized from the D in the middle? And so we started with the foundational flat line at the bottom, which ended in an increased arrow on the top of the D. All right. And then we added some color to it to give her a look at that. and then we put it on white so she could see it even more boldly. But again, the strokes on the fonts are still very thin, right? And then we added a little bit of stroke to it, put it on a dark feature so she could see it, brought it out again on a white feature so that she could see it. We added the width in there to give her what the full slogan in the middle says: plan for increase with Phyllis Darden. She's your resource, spirit, health, economic, and social. So you could read it in its entirety. So you have different variations that you would use based on the use. And there it is in all black, again, with all of her slogan featured. So these are some of the variations that you go through to help the client really be able to see. Again, this is what your starting $349 is paying for. Now do you see why logo designs aren't $7? So, or logo designs aren't $99. When I first started doing logo designs, guys, I was charging $35 for a logo back in 2001. Yes, laughed me out the front door. They were nice. Like I will show you some of them. They were still nice, but I put a lot of time and work into a $35 logo. And yes, you still got the various formats. I was still giving you everything you needed, all your different formats, even at $35. That has never changed. Okay. And so then we brought about the circles to show her what it would look like with the slogan, without the slogan, and we walked her through the whole process, and pretty much this is the finalized logo that she's liking. So we know this will look well on a dark color as well as on a light color. Again, Fiverr's not giving you that. Fiverr is also not mocking up your branded items on what do you call it, on t-shirts, on cups. Fiverr's not doing that. Okay, meaning, let's see if I can pull up another one here for you. Meaning you go to a client, you ask for a logo, and you're not quite sure if you love it because you have not seen it actually on a cup or a t-shirt or something like that. So let's see if I can get a couple of the mock-ups on here to show you so you can get a general consensus of what I am saying. Let's see, where do I have some of these mock-ups at? All right, so let's pull up VStream. So VStream is an actual software. It's an online software, but it's a physical software as well. So once the logo was designed, we took it and placed it on a few of the boxed items so they could see what the logo would look like mocked up on material, what it would look like on a drinking platform, also what it would look like on t-shirt design, as I showed you before, what it would look like, you know, on a varying color of the green. These are mock-ups. People want to see in real time what their product will look like. And so you have to do that sometimes. Fiverr's not giving you those mock-ups. They're not mocking the items up for you, right? And that's one of the things that you kind of want to see. You kind of want to know what the product will look like in real time. Here's a Backyard Smoothies logo that we did. And again, when we first start with the logo, we want to show it in black and white so they can fall in love with the elements first. And so after we presented the black and white element, we would move to presenting a grayscale element so that they could see it in a little bit of grayscale, and they wanted it with and without the Backyard Smoothies on there, depending on what they were choosing to use it on. So we finally moved over into a full color logo so that they could see what it would look like in full color, even though they had already fallen in love with the bare bones. So there it is with everything included in a full color logo. This is not $7, and you're not going to get this off of Fiverr. Okay, so you just want to make sure that you provide everything that a client is going to need, because the other thing that people do not consider is when they go from one specific place to another place and they say, hey, now I need this not in a screen print but maybe in a heat press. They don't realize that that particular place could charge them a different fee now, because maybe you brought them the JPEG and what they needed was the EPS, or maybe you brought them the PNG file and what they needed was the PDF file. Okay, so this is getting into the last area of this when you talk about finalization and file formatting. Like we just went over mocking up and actually putting it on products and services I mean, the client wants to see their items listed or shown on something. Okay, so let's look at one other one here just to show you that really quickly. Let's get down to the domain. I also send them out mocked up on a business card so that they can see what their business card will look like. This is a mock-up. She actually received her actual business cards in hand, but this is another mock-up so she could see what the front and what the rear of her business card would look like if she wanted to get an appointment business card or just an information business card. I send them out a mock-up of what it would look like to get their approval of the design of the business card, right? So that's crucial. You're not going to get that $7 on Fiverr either, but this is also what your 349 plus is paying for, right? But even with that, when the end result happens, what you're generally missing is a file format. You yourself as a novice person, you have no idea which particular logo file you received, what you're supposed to use it on, right? And so you don't know when I say EPS, when I say here it is. When I say EPS, when I say PNG, you have no idea what the deliverable file formats are. You don't know when you receive an EPS or a PDF file that is the file that you send someone that's working on your business cards, brochures, or advertisement. You don't know when it's time to use a JPEG or a GIF that is what is used on websites, ads, banners, which is not necessarily true these days because PNGs and PDFs work much better on online ads and banners, in my opinion, because they make for really crisp, clean, sizable fonts. JPEGs, once you size it, it gets pixelated, it gets blurry. I'm sure you guys have experienced that. And any of you guys that are in the Elite Brand Master Coaching, that is an absolute no-no. TIFFs are used for Microsoft Office program, even for full color printing. They are very heavy, rich, large files, so they really are not made to be sent back and forth. You create them at 300 DPI. You don't need to resize them, but they are delivered rich, heavy, thick files that take up a lot of space. I also like to say using grayscale, black, and reverse. So you know how you see a color knocked out? You want to make sure that that transparency happens. And then finally, when you look up here in the top left-hand corner of a website, that is called a favicon or a thumbnail. You want to make sure that that is representational of where the product is being seen. So let's see here. When I pull up, I'm trying to grab a website really quickly to show you. When you go on Facebook, you're in Facebook, there's their little favicon. Like when you go to Inspire the Movement, when you go to their homepage, I think there's just went away. Not sure what I did to get rid of that. There's coming back. It's in that little circle. All right, we'll have to figure out what I just did with that. But you'll see Family First Designs. My logo is up there. They're not always going to be 100% crystal clear. But let's see if I can get another one to come up. I think this may take me inside of, let's see if I go password, if it'll bring up the right one. There we go. And so you see how there's just a world right here for this one. Okay. Just trying to go to a couple of different ones. If you go to, Sigma, we got to go figure out what's going on with your index page. I'm glad I saw that. So I have to hit her up. So let's go to Mind Over Matters for YOU.com. All right, so when you go here to Mind Over Matters, this is her logo design. So you see it's a nice, clean logo. That's what you want to be working with. That's what you want to see. You want nice, clean, open logo design. And then finally, here's another one. Her favicon shows up right here. Her logo is nice and clean right here, very clean. Stephanie J. Sanders. She didn't even know that's what it was when I first sent it to her, because Stephanie said, hey, my brand is me. I know based on all of your training and education, my brand is me. I am the brand. What is it that you see when you see my brand? And I'm like, I see Stephanie J. Sanders. And so that's the logo design that we came up with her for her Cultivated Mind Enterprises LLC. So I'm hoping that you guys, are hearing me clearly for everything that's included, that you understand, these deliverables, that you make sure that you're being receptive to these people who are out here doing all of this work to come up with one image for one entity that represents your entire brand. Think about that. You have an individual coming up with one image, one design. You should have seen me today working with my son's logo design, because he's doing an amazing job. He hand drew his logo himself. We are working on it to make sure it represents, his unique personality, that it represents one of his favorite entities, but he hand drew it himself. And us just sitting there moving certain elements and moving things around and kind of tweaking it, it takes a lot of time. Be kind to your web designers and graphic designers and professionals and your brand masters that are creating your product, because we're trying to make sure that we represent you extremely well as your entity, right? And we want to make sure that it is clean. We want to make sure that it is versatile. We want to make sure that it's simple, memorable, it's versatile, and it is appropriate. So again, just running back through the key points that I'm hoping you guys have had the opportunity to jot down and write down, and definitely begin to populate your questions if you have questions. The number one thing that you need to remember, and I say number one, but I give you 6 different things, is that your logo must be simple, memorable, effective, versatile, appropriate. Okay, and it must be unique. All right, it must be unique to you. That's all in the very important steps. Step 1 is information sharing. Step 2 is pre-search. Step 3 is vision casting. Step 4 is the design implementation or the drafting. Step 5 is the review and the revisions. Step 6 is the finalization of those formats. And step 7 are the deliverables. So you want to make sure on the tail end of everything that you receive. That's why I say 7 to 9, because if you want to start with step 1 and what the logo must have, that would be step 1, shift all the numbers down. And then step 9, if you want to do 9 steps, step 9 would be making sure that you get that logo release notification showing the authenticity of the logo, so that you can then move into trademark and service mark based on your particular state, or even the federal level that you need to get your logo trademarked or service marked. Okay, so that is my time for tonight. Let me flip over here to the appropriate area, because I did not have it up correctly, to ensure that I am not missing any comments. And thank you so much for joining me. I can't see everybody's name because some of you probably popped in and didn't give Facebook permission. I see I have a couple of YouTubers on here. Thank you so much, Talisha, for popping on, for being coachable, teachable, trainable out of Toccoa, Georgia. I really appreciate it. Yes, you could share this anywhere. When I go public live like this, sis, you're available to share it to any platform that you choose to. The only ones that you're unavailable to share is when I'm specifically inside the group only, and you will see I'm not anywhere else. So even if you tried to share it, it wouldn't share. It would show as unavailable content. So you're good to go. Hey there, Elnora. Good to go. So guys, if you have not seen, her starter page is up, and she is out of Rosedale, New York, and we have been working on King's brand. And so this is the logo design that we created for King. He is an Alaskan Husky. Am I saying that correct? Out of Rosedale, New York. You're very welcome, Honora. And just to give you some clarity on this, one of the reasons that we added this white backdrop to it as well is because, again, depending on where you're using it, you want to make sure the logo remains versatile. So this logo was also given to Elnora in a solid black, in a solid white, in a grayscale, just like all of the other logo formats that you heard me mention. And the reason that that is done is because you want to make sure that when that individual takes that logo to another vendor to do something additional with that logo, that they're not going to be charged even more. So if she were to take this logo and go to her vendor, and her vendor's like, hey, this is beautiful, not a problem, but we don't need the extra white outline of all of this, we're going to charge you to take all the white lines off. Elnora can say, nope, hold on one second, and she can go back to her repertoire of items, and she can pull up, right there, even where she is on her phone, she can pull up her Trello board. And do I have it in Trello, Elnora, or do I have it on Google Drive? I think yours are on Google Drive. But she would be able to bring up her logo design. Yeah, it's in your Google Drive. She would be able to bring up her logo design, and she would be able to say, hey, let me go about it this way. because I know I can get to those much faster. She would be able to say, nope, got it right here. What's the email address, or what's your Dropbox, or where is whatever you have that you want to receive my file in, so I can send it to you in all black, or I can send it to you in all white. And that avoids her having to pay any additional fee that that particular vendor is going to charge her. So if she were to pull open her Google Drive, she could go right here to where her logo motion files are, not logo motion files, to where her PNG files are, and she would be able to say, hey, do you need it in black and white, all black? You're not going to be able to see that. Do you need it in black and white? Do you need it in full color? Do you need it in grayscale? Do you need it in all white? Right? Okay, it is on Google Drive. Okay, cool. She would be able to say, I have all the formats that you need. And they may say, no, ma'am, we're sorry. We're glad to know you got a PNG. We need it in a PDF. She can say, okay, no problem. Hold on 1 second. And then she can go and pull up the PDF file. I got it in a PDF. You see what I'm saying? Because these vendors would try to charge you for things that you've already paid for, but they don't know that you already have the formats that they need. So that is one of the things, me being a graphic professional and me being your brand master, I'm not going to give you something that you don't already have all the formats that you need, because you've already paid for it. No need to get swindled by additional vendors. And then also, you may be standing there and they may have a special on red shirts and your logo has red in it, but you still want it on red shirts. It may be Breast Cancer Awareness Month, this month of October, and you're out here running a special, and you want people to buy it based on a t-shirt color, where if pink is nowhere in your color palette and you have no products on your store in pink, you probably don't know to use your all black logo, put it on a pink shirt, and now you can get sales that actually support Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You can take a portion of those sales and send it to a reputable, company or whatever that supports the fundraising that's happening. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying to you that you can't get that on Fiverr. You can't get that from very novice startup logo designers. You're not going to be able to get the depth and the quality, but you being a person who don't know, I'm so glad that you are a part of what we have going on here inside the Elite Group training, because it will give you hopefully everything that you need to literally take the reins of your brand and run with it. So I don't see any questions coming in, so I must have done a pretty good job giving you guys this information. I look forward to talking with you all on this Sunday night for Setup Sunday as we prepare for the final week of this month of October. Let me see here. Is this the final week, guys? Yes, it is. So today being the 21st, when we meet on this Sunday, it will be the 25th, and we will be in the final week of October with only 2 months left. So my hope is that I was able to give you some really good information tonight. I am looking forward to this upcoming Sunday, because I want to see what you guys have been able to do and moving forward with your brands. To your success. I'll talk to you guys soon. Good night.